Well, or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole one.
This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by ICOM America. All right, good evening out there to everybody. Today is July the 9th, I think. You're watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and we'd like to welcome you. If you're new to the show tonight in the chat room, just let us know that you're a new person watching. We're glad to have you. Also, this show, the audio is simulcast on world-famous shortwave station WBCQ on 5130 kilohertz every Tuesday night. And if you're out there listening on shortwave right now, you can also watch the show if you have internet. You can go to w5kub.com and you can watch the show and join in the chat room. If you are out there on shortwave, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. And boy, I tell you, why do I get so stressed out 5 minutes until the show starts every week? I think it has something to do with Microsoft. I don't know, man. But we got the show going tonight. I think it's going to be a good show. We've got a slight audio problem with one of 4 remote people, so we're going to deal with it. It's not very excessive. So I think we'll be okay. So if you hear a little funny noise in there, don't worry about it. So let's see. Tonight we've got. Let me get our regulars in here, and let's just say hi to them first. And we've got tonight with us. Well, that's not looking too good. How about that one? Yeah, there we go. There we go. We got Jason and we got Dave with us tonight. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing good here. Fixing to do a video this week on the 2-meter band by request.
Okay.
All the kerfluffle about it?
Well, tangentially. I've done some videos before that just sort of describe a band, and somebody wanted the 2-meter band, so.
Good.
Okay.
I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time with a DMR Q&A.
Okay, that'd be cool. I might try to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that too.
I've got a custom URL set up. You can go to hamradio2.com/live stream, and it'll take you straight to the YouTube URL for that live stream. But we'll probably end up talking. I didn't plan this, but it just kind of happened. We'll probably end up talking about the changes to TAC 310 from Brandmeister, but I want it to be a lot more than that. I don't want it to be focused only on that. So.
Well, I've got so much to learn about that. I bought that DV Mega Cast that mainly so I could get on DMR and stuff. And actually, the show has a channel now, or a talk group, 31693. But I really don't know how all that stuff works, so I need to tune in and learn and get you to teach him some stuff. Katie said hi to everybody. Katie was going to be on the show tonight, but about an hour before the show, she informed me that she was not going to be able to make it. I think they had some type of medical issue going on with her stepdaughter, and they wanted to be sure that they were, talking with them and making sure everything's okay. So. We wish him the best. She'll be back with us next week. Josh said he was going to try to make the show tonight. He gets off at 5 o'clock. The show starts at 6 o'clock his time. I told him don't speed. Of course, the average traffic out in California between 5 and 6 is about 6 miles an hour, I think. So I don't know. He probably will get home in about 5 hours tonight. I don't know. So anyway, that's where we stand there. So we've got several things going here tonight, and we need to just get back on track here. And then we're gonna we'll have more time for each of us to talk here. So I'm going to bring in our first guest, and we're going to get that one at first segment started. And let me see if I can bring Bob in here, and if I can find the right mouse. Boy, I need to hire some operators to operate this stuff for me here. And there we go.
There we go.
Guys, this is Bob, NU3Q. Bob, and Bob, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Mente?
Menti, close enough.
Mente, okay, Bob Mente, NU3Q. And you know what? On the 40-meter net tonight, I had at least 3 people from up in your area mention that you were going to be on the show tonight, and they were going to be watching.
Yes, I put the word out.
Yeah, he had said you got the word out on a 2-meter repeater this morning. So Bob contacted me. He sees us up at Dayton, and wanted to jump on the show and say hello to everybody. And Bob does a lot of special events and other communications things. And you want to just jump into that just very briefly and then tell us how you get your equipment to these locations for this. So Bob, go ahead, man.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Good evening to everybody, to your viewers out there. My name is Bob Mente, NU3Q. As Tom alluded to, I do a lot of mostly public service stuff here, public service events up here in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County. I coordinate the Race for the Cures. You can see my shirt here. I coordinate that every year for the Pittsburgh Common folks. I also coordinate the Pittsburgh Great Race. And this year I'll be taking the reins on the American Diabetes Association Tour de Cure. So those are the 3 main events that I coordinate. And I'm also an assistant EC here in Allegheny County as well. And tonight, I'm going to talk about a little brainstorm I've been working on for the last couple years. Before I did this public service stuff, it was kind of hard to drag radios around, connect them, disconnect them, connect the power. It got to be a real pain in the butt. So I came up with a nice idea of a Go box. Not just any Go box. I designed a Go box to my personal specifications. And I did it more economically than your traditional Gator box.
Well, hey, let me jump in here and say one thing. Some of these Go boxes can get really expensive and really elaborate, man. And that's not me. I'm a home brewer, scrounge stuff guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way too. I like to do things. I prefer to do things more of the old school way myself personally. My father was a machinist. He was kind of the same mindset. He used to make a lot of his own parts. So you can see the apple has not fallen too far from the tree. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna kick over here to I'm gonna share my screen with you folks tonight and start my little presentation about how I built my Go box, my ideas behind it.
Let's have your experiences on how you planned that and how much difficulty you had.
Okay. Let's see if my computer wants to cooperate here. Hold on. Okay, we got. Okay, F5. Okay, can you see my screen there?
Not yet.
Okay.
No. Did you hit the share?
Yes, I did hit the share.
Okay. That's interesting. Dave, anybody seeing the shared screen yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, I just see him.
All right. Did you click on the little 2 square boxes?
Yep, I sure did.
You might try again. There we go. There we go.
There it is.
All right.
So now we see his Skype screen. There you go.
We are.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, good. I hit the wrong squares. Okay. Okay. My little moniker NU3Q Labs. It's more of tongue-in-cheek type thing there. So that's my HF Go box I built over the last. Took me about 6 months to build that, and I finished that up. My cat gave her approval to it. That's my cat Heidi there, by the way. She gave her a sniff, paw, said you're good to go. So Kitty approves. K1TTY. There you go. And I said before, I'm here from Pittsburgh. I'm an assistant EC here for Allegheny County. I've been licensed since 2006, and I came into this hobby as one of the old Lemire guys back in the 70s. And for anybody who wants more information, my email address is on there on the screen, so you can refer back to that later on when Tom uploads this program to YouTube. Okay, to start tonight, my main voyage for my Go box happened this past week at a local July 4th parade in the town of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, which is a little west of me. One of the fellows from my club, the Steel City Amateur Radio Club, right up the road from me in Pittsburgh, came with a little last-minute brainstorm to promote the club. And I said, sure, I'll come down and bring my Go box with me and try it out. And I tried it for the first time. It worked like a champ, so I'm happy about that. So it was a very good acid test of its capabilities. And the larger portion of doing this is doing a lot of public relations work, because we set up, and he's a landlord. He owns a commercial building with a storefront and some apartment buildings up in the second and third floors of a building. Right now, the storefront's vacant, and he's looking for new tenants. So he decided to take advantage of the space and the opportunity while the space is still empty. He let me use his space. During the course of the parade, people came in to cool off from the heat, and they got to see what we were doing. And they commented positively about my design of my Go box, and they thought it was a pretty clever idea how I did it. And that's a picture of me operating the special, for lack of a better term, a special event station there.
This was the 4th of July, yeah.
You okay? You guys okay?
Yeah, doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in fine.
Okay. One of the side effects of my joke here is you'll RF your eye out, like poor Ralphie in the Christmas Story. And there was a bit of trivia here with amateur radio with that movie. If most of you probably already know this. If not, Gene Shepard, who narrated that movie, was K2ORS, who now is a silent key. He's the guy who narrated that Christmas Story movie. And if you look on YouTube, he has some of his radio programs where he talked about his amateur radio experiences from his childhood back in the 50s. Okay, my motivation for building the box is pretty. Those are the main points that came to my mind for doing this. I want something quickly to deploy at a moment's notice. I don't have time to waste connecting all the components together. Everything's pre-connected in the box. All I have to do is connect my 2 antennas. I'm good to go. And has a self-contained power for extended operation, which I'll discuss a little bit later on. And I also gave a proviso for external power where I could connect some form of external power, like maybe, for example, a solar panel to it. And the big crux of this, the stuff that I do here, is I make it as a portable net control station. So I do my net controls for my public service events. I'm good to go. So my first choice for the case was one of those plastic cases, like a Pelican box. I looked at that. It looked pretty good until I saw the price tag, and I nearly fainted. Yeah. Basic box is around $150. If you want extra shelf, you buy that as extra charge. And UPS, FedEx, they really hit you in shipping for oversized items and said, yeah, they ain't gonna cut it. Plus, also, with that being partially ABS, with HF, as most of you already know, you need to have a good ground with HF, so that was not going to cut it. One day, I went to a local Army surplus store in my area, and I saw the solution to my dilemma right there. That's a picture of the box that I use for my Go kit. If you notice here in the picture, I'm pointing to these things. There's metal channels they put in the box, and I'll explain to you what they are in a second, because I had to take them out to build this box. So this box I found in an Army surplus store. This 50 caliber box dated 5/15/66, right in the heart of the Vietnam era. One of my fellow Masonic brothers confirmed that was a 50 caliber box because he saw one just like it, because he served in the jungles of Vietnam for a short while. Being at $70 versus $150 plus, definitely a more cost-effective solution for us homebrew geeks like myself and Tom. And the big plus, all metal construction, so excellent grounding. So to start with, when I built this, I took the clamshell lid and added a handle to it. It's a typical handle you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. for you build on your cabinets. That's the same type of handle I used on there. Those metal channels I mentioned before, I had to take them out because they were kind of in the way. So I had to kind of hit them out with a hammer and chisel, and I had to patch the holes a little bit with JB weld metal repair, grind it down, smooth it out, just like doing body work in the car. Next thing I did is cut a hole for the cooling fan. And the big point I want to emphasize here when you do this, you can use these hole saws for wood. However, you must use a slow drill. And that picture is my father's old Craftsman drill, which is 500 RPMs. I used a very light pressure and a lot of cutting fluid. That's the key. Light pressure, cutting fluid, and everything will be fine. I did not mess the teeth up on the hole saw. And likewise, that power switch mount I bought from Quicksilver Radio in Dayton last year. If you see them, they have it's a unit of 4 holes. I had to slice that in half to fit in my box. Once again, I used the ultimate tool of destruction, the Sawzall. Slow speed, cutting fluid, everything went fine. And likewise, when I drilled my holes for all my components, same thing. I used my battery drill, I used a slow speed and cutting fluid. For wire management and grounding, what I came up with a unique solution here, I had some leftover raceway from a network cabling job I did years ago. I had that sitting down in my garage. I used some pieces left over. I used that, so it was a freebie for me, basically. And later on, and you'll see here, I made these mounts. That's mount for the battery, and there's the fan itself. And this guy here is a grounding bar you can buy Lowe's, Home Depot, etc. in the electrical section. That's like what you have in your breaker panel in your house. Next step is, once again, slow drill. I drilled some big 5/8 holes for my SO239 connectors. And the other thing I mentioned before is I bought this little power connector from Quicksilver Radio, so I could connect my one port charges the battery, the other port's my external power. And in the file mock-up, that's what it looked like. So once I got the file mock-up done, I took everything out, I started painting the box. The paint was the kind of dilemma for me at first until one day, last year when I was out St. Louis visiting my in-laws, they have a store out there, most of you probably know Menards. We don't have them here in Pittsburgh, unfortunately, but Menards is big out in the Midwest. It's like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, grocery store all in one, pretty much on steroids. So you get anything there. Pretty neat place to go. So I used Rust-Oleum primer and farm implement enamel, 3 coats of each. Between the coats, I did some wet sanding with 600 grit wet sandpaper to keep it smooth. And my final choice was gray. In this case, Ford Tractor gray. The reason I did that is to draw suspicion away from myself from the local law enforcement folks. I'm not trying to mock them here, mind you. I'm just want to see from their perspective. I'd be carrying a green case around. They're going to think, what's this guy up to? So they get using this technique, somebody who might make terrorist activities. So you got to be careful in this day and age, unfortunately. So came to the prep work. Initially, I tried to paint with the green paint that was already on there from the Army. It didn't fly too well. It just went on very rough. Did not stick right. So I ended up taking my father's old Rockwell grinder and put an 8-inch wire wheel on it, stripped all the paint off there, and pretty much got a very light grinding, sanding before I started painting. And when I got down to bare metal, I used a lot of brake fluid to clean the metal with. And I started the primer coat in the box and the lid. And on my mounts here, once again, these are my homebrew battery mounts, which I made from a piece of rolled metal. I just kind of measured, bent, cut, put it in my vise, I banged it to make a perfect 90-degree angle. This is a piece of scrap iron I have for my fan switch. That's the Quicksilver Radio mount. These 2 angle irons here came from my scrap to help wedge the battery in so it doesn't shift around. And this is a piece of hardware cloth which I bought at my local hardware store as a shroud for the fan to keep the dirt out. Oops, my mouse did that, I apologize. And then to the final, just to the gray. And on the pieces I made them black just to kind of give a little contrast. Here's the heart and soul of the whole system is this Biano power battery. It's very lightweight. It's better to use than a traditional SLA sealed lead acid battery because it weighs a heck of a lot less. 15 amp hours is more than plenty to run a 100-watt rig. Gordon West did a review on this battery a couple years ago in CQ magazine. The nice thing about this battery is it's got a built-in power control module to prevent overloads. And the approximate runtime per the Biano folks is around 7.5 hours at 100 watts. Your mileage may vary, obviously. And that's the runtime calculation they used to come up with their numbers. And they gave a nice little chart so you don't have to worry about doing that. And my battery is 7.5 hours per their technical specs. And once again, with my homebrew battery mount, you can see those 2 angle irons I used to wedge it in there, and the 2 pieces of metal I cut to kind of hold it in place. The tuner, my LDG, I did a little creativity on this one. I went to my local Ace Hardware store. By the way, I'm not plugging anybody or anything, just telling where I got the stuff. Those are like mini 2-inch angle irons there I bought. I attached one side to the case, and the other, I just drilled a couple holes in the box for to mount it down and hold it in place. On the IC7100, excuse me, I used the MB62 mount to mount the actual transceiver. The MBA1 mount, I did a little reverse engineering, so to speak, on this. I used a bracket as a template to drill the 3 holes in the ammo box, and from underneath there's 3 screws holding that control head in place. In other words, there's absolutely no there's no hook loop there's no hook loop Velcro fasteners in this. It's all strictly screws, so it's not going anywhere. And I also took this opportunity to repurpose an old cell phone speaker I had from an old kit I had back from the 90s, and I had one of those old flip phones in my car. So that was like a zero cost item right there. And the Signal Link sound card is in there, obviously, at the top of the case. Same idea, I used the same 2-inch mounts. I had to pull stuff out of that little box here and drill a hole and rivet that in place on the box and on the mount for the sound card itself, and drill 2 holes in the case to mount it to the case. Here's the trick to doing Signal Link card mounting. If you look at the schematic, on the Signal Link it has its own ground isolation circuit, so therefore I did not want it making any electrical contact with the box and the RF ground, so I had to isolate that with plastic hardware, plastic screws, plastic washers. The idea is to avoid ground loops and be able to transmit clean digital audio. And once again, as I alluded to before, is my RF ground bar in the box to ground my radio, my tuner, and I piggybacked to a stud for grounding, which I'll show you here in a second. When I started assembly, I took my little Dremel moto tool and cleaned some of the paint off where the the SO239 connectors go in, the ground bar, and for the ground stud. And you can see on the right-hand side, I use some aux guards, some antioxidants to keep that from rusting. And there's that is the ground that I mentioned before. It grounds my whole box to a ground rod or whatever I have available to me at my operating site to ground the whole box out. And here's a caution I want to make sure everybody is aware of. When you do ground wire, keep it short as possible. And they say the rule is a quarter wave at 10 meters, which is around 7.8 feet. I cut my ground wire a little under 7 feet just to be safe, because anything over might become resonant in the antenna, as most of you already know. And I used flat wire, so the most surface ground possible. And I built all this with power poles. And if you notice my picture, you gotta use the Aries standard. Follow that and you have no problems. And the fan switch, pretty self-explanatory right there. It's just a standard single pole, single throw switch. And I decided, in the overall scheme of things, to wire the switch ahead of the master power switch so I can control it independently of the master power switch. And how I diagrammed it is right there in my slide. And that's the master power switch I bought from Quicksilver Radio, along with that voltmeter. And there's 3 wires in there as well. One's the common, one's the actual feed and one's the switch feed. And you can see in the diagram how I wired that up. And there's the overall wiring harness I mentioned earlier. One port is for the bottom port's for my charge my battery, and the top port's for external power in the box. And there's the finished product right there. And that's the finished box wiring product right there. And as you can see, where I have the battery connected here, I can pull that wire and connect my external power to that same wire and bring power into the box from the outside. And that's the overall finished product, is what that thing looks like. And if you'll notice what I did here, I used some extension cables for the code key and for the speaker. So the reason I did that, because I have a HAL headset for my radio. I can pull that speaker out and connect the HAL headset to that with no problem. And I also did the same idea with the microphone connection. I used a standard Cat5 network cable, RJ45 female block, so I can connect my microphone to that, or connect my house switch to that as well to control the transmit my radio. And that's pretty much how I built my box. Let me see if I stop sharing the screen now. Okay, I'll turn it back off, and that should take me back to you folks. I hope it does.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
About dissimilar metals. You've got an aluminum box, and you're putting in some components in there that look like they might be steel. And was that ground thing copper, or was that aluminum block?
The ground rod, the panel ground bars, I think may have aluminum. And that's the reason I used part of the reason I used that antioxidant. That's part of the reason why I did that.
Okay, so you didn't try to use like stainless steel in between or something like that?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that's the reason to keep that from rusting, because the dissimilar metals do rust.
So,
Yeah.
So Bob, how's it served you? You've obviously used it at some places. How long have you had it now, and
Okay,
how much have you used it?
I started construction on this last year after Dayton.
Okay.
And as I got time over the summer, a little round to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Does that tie up? I mean, do you have extra radios that you can put in a Go box, or do you use that at home, or is that just a Go kit?
That's just my general Go kit.
Okay.
As I was telling the other two gentlemen before he came on here, I have my own radios down my shack, and I have a 7000 in my car, so this is definitely my Go radio.
Okay.
For service events. And the first main voyage, as I said before in the presentation, was last week at the July 4th parade. Unfortunately, I couldn't use it for field day this year because I had friends visiting from Canada that weekend, so it didn't happen. So, but at least I got to at least try it out. So next use will be at the Tour de Cure in the middle of September, and the Pittsburgh Great Race at the end of September.
Well, it's a good thing to have, but we just hope you never have to use it in a real serious emergency. But
I get your comments.
Yeah.
I get your comments there.
But you've got it there. Well, look, we've got to move on, Bob. We're running a little late tonight with our late start, and we've ended up with several other segments. So appreciate you coming on tonight. And now, are you still a member of the Skyview Radio Society?
Yes, I am a member of Skyview, Steel City, and the North Hills Amateur Radio Club here in Pittsburgh.
Okay, and
the Association of South Hills as well. I'm a member of 4 clubs.
Okay, and you had mentioned that you had met Katie 7 or 8 years ago. She had come up and visited your club, and I think you guys met. So too bad Katie couldn't make it tonight, but I did tell her. I did tell her.
Yeah, tell her Skyview sends her regards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bob, and we'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey, Bob, good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Right.
Good job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Okay, so we got a couple other things coming up here. First, hey, let me jump in here with something that happened with me this week. It'll take about 1 minute here, I think. Saturday I went outside. I needed something to work on some antennas with. I think I got in my truck and I went up to Lowe's. And I came back about 30 minutes later from Lowe's. And when I did, this was the end of my driveway.
Oh dear.
Now,
Wow.
now people think that's a tree that's fallen over. That is not a tree, guys. You know what that is?
No,
That's
looks like a tree to me.
That's not a tree. That's a limb.
Oh,
That's a limb that fell from 75 feet up in the air.
What's the diameter of your tree?
Well, let's just put it this way. It's bigger around diameter than oh, you mean the tree. I thought you were talking about the limb right there. I don't know. The tree is probably, diameter is probably, I don't know, 4 foot, 4.5 foot, something. I don't know. It's a big tree.
Wow.
They're, I've got a number of them. They're 100 foot easily. And this broke off at a 75 foot level and fell. And I'm glad I wasn't there. When I go out my backyard every day, I pick up pretty good sized sticks. I did not go out when the wind's blowing, but this day there was no wind blowing, no storm, and I drove back up and pulled in the driveway, and I saw that, and it completely surprised me there. There's another shot of it from the back side, looking toward the house. It took down 3 antennas. It took down my Delta loop, my 40-meter extended double ZEP, and an inverted V. So that's part of the base of it where it hit. It actually tore some brick out there of some drainage I got in the yard. Let's see. Well, you can't. It looks like a jungle, doesn't it? Looks like a jungle. So,
Yeah.
so within just about an hour, I had a crew out there. I had some people to call, and I had some people out there. And this is, I tell you what, on 100 degrees and the humidity about 95, this is, in my age, this is not something that I would do. Particularly once that thing is cut up, each of those pieces weighed about 300-400 pounds, you know. So anyway, it missed the back of my house. I've got a glass sunroom right there, and it came down right at the sunroom. And you can see the sunroom right there. It actually, and they're cleaning it up there. And if you'll notice, they've the little bobcat right there. That thing is good about moving that weight of those logs right there.
Wow.
So that's all that's the damage it did to my sunroom. You can see there, the gutter right there and the trim. It didn't do any roof damage. It got the gutter. Now I've got to see, you know, if I can get that repaired somehow. But within 3 hours, that's what it looked like. There's a guy back there with a blower blowing sawdust and leaves up, and that's what it looked like. So, you know, that's, and yesterday I did get my antennas back up. I got them all back up, and we had the net tonight. So just wanted to let you know about that. Trees do make antennas fall, and particularly when the limb weighs about 2,000 pounds.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So let's see. Let's think of something here a minute. Now let's go to Jason. Jason, you worked the 13 colonies. I thought about giving it a try, and I thought I'd film it. You know, each contact I'd film it and put it in a little thing. You know, 13 strips, but I didn't do it. Did you do anything Did you do anything like that?
No.
Oh man.
I worked the contest this year.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a contest. It's a special event. I had to correct myself on that several times. But this is the first year I've ever got all 13 of them. I've worked it for the last 2 years prior to this one. So this is my third year. And I got all 13 states this year, but I did not get any of the bonus stations. But as I understand it, I think you can still submit for a certificate if you get all 13 states. So the bonuses are bonuses. They're not required for the certificate. So, but yeah, that was fun. I worked all of them. I was talking in the chat when Bob was talking a little bit ago, and some people were talking about how they missed one or they missed a couple, and one guy did it all on CW, and I thought that was really cool. I did all mine on single sideband phone, and I did all of them on a 40-meter dipole antenna with 100 watts. 100 watts in a wire. to
Yep.
steal from Christian for a little bit. So,
So let me ask you, was there any places on the internet that had spots for the different states?
you know what? I used the VE7CC spotter program,
Uh-huh.
which is supposed to be for Well, the tab that I use, there's different tabs at the top. You can choose. If you go to the DX tab, people were spotting those stations on whatever frequency they were with that program. So I used that.
Yeah.
You know, the first couple days when you don't have anything in your log yet, it's easy. You just scroll around the band and you listen and you're like, oh, there's one, and you start to pick them up. But then towards the end, when you're looking for specific stations, it's a little bit easier to use the spotter program. So I used VE7CC the last 3 or 4 days, something like that. I got my very last one Sunday morning. Sunday was the last day. K2J, Kilo 2 Juliet, was out of North Carolina, I think is what it was. I'm going to correct myself here. No, that's right. New Jersey. No, North Carolina. I was right. North Carolina. That's the last one I got. I got it at about 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday on 15 meters.
Oh, wow. So was the 13, if you get 13, is it called a clean sweep, or did you have to work a couple extras? How's that work?
I printed this list from the 13 Colonies website. There's 13 stations, and then there's 3 bonus stations. And I think in order to do a clean sweep, you have to get all 16 of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So I got the 13 Colonies, but I didn't get. I heard there's a bonus station for WM3 Pen, and there's another one for GB13COL. That one's out of Great Britain. And then there's a bonus station of K2Z. I heard K2Z twice, and all of these stations that I was working had pileups on them. Took some time to break through the pileups with only 100 watts, but I got all of them. K2Z had like a triple pileup on him. The two times that I heard that station, it was like everyone on HF focus on this dude right now, and it was wild. I mean, like, I'm looking at my pan adapter right there, and like the signal is this wide, you know, like. He's calling CQ. Yeah. He says QRZ, and it goes bam.
Oh, man.
It was crazy, man. It was insane. So I tried it a couple times, and I'm like, no.
Now, is the contest today, over? Was it just a week long, or how long is the contest?
It's a week long. It's July 1st to the 7th.
Yeah.
So 7 days, and you know they're on there. Some of those guys are on there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
They switch off operators, but like the same K2A, K2B will be on there 24 hours a day. And they'll go to 80 meters at night, and they'll come back to 20 or 15 meters in the morning. There's several of them on 10 meters. 40 meters is where I spent most of my time, but you know there's a lot of them on 20 meters also. And I got all 13 of them, so I'm going to send this in and see what happens, and I'm probably going to hang it on the wall over there with my QSL card. So
that'll be so cool. Dave, did you think about working them?
No, it completely slipped by me. I would have done it, I think. But,
well, I wish I had
something else. Where are you located there?
Jason's down in Texas. Where, Great Pine?
Texas. Okay, so you're a little closer. Yeah, I have trouble working New England.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And you know the ones that I could not hear were like let's see, New Hampshire was tough. North Carolina, South Carolina was easy, but North Carolina for some reason was tough. Connecticut and New York were easy. Rhode Island was easy, believe it or not. I had a problem with Delaware, Maryland, and North Carolina for some reason. So I don't know. Yeah, Texas is. But I was sitting there trying to work the pileups. You know, I was hearing this station in Pennsylvania, New York, whatever, and he would call QRZ, and all these people would come back to him, and he'd say, "Okay, the station ending in Papa, come back," and that guy would be in, and you know, this guy's out here in the East Coast, and in the station calling him, he would be in Arizona or California. So I'd hear someone farther away than me, and he'd be hearing that guy better than he'd be hearing me. So,
yeah.
Of course, that guy was probably running power. I mean, maybe he was running power or a better antenna than a wire. Who knows? But
it worked.
Oh, it worked. Yeah, there was a couple of guys on there, and they were calling QRP. So I'm like, man, you got guts calling QRP. I mean, if you've done it several years in a row, you got a few certificates on your wall, then yeah, hey, go QRP, see how you can do it.
Did they allow any contacts like Fusion, DMR, D-Star?
You know, I'm told that these bonus stations were on DMR, and I
Really?
actually heard GB13COL on the Pennsylvania statewide DMR talk group. I didn't try to call him. I was like, if I can't contact him on HF, I don't really want the certificate.
Yeah,
So,
I know the world's changing, and I know radio's changing. I mean, I read a lot of these new groups, these new ham Facebook groups where people are getting a license, and I don't want to talk bad about them, but here's what bothers me being a ham for 55 years. They just worked their first DX contact in Germany, but they did it on a Bofang, and their signal went about 3 miles.
Right.
Because, they went through the internet, and I'm thinking, gee, I mean, you can talk to him on Skype, you can talk to him.
Tom, look at it this way. I haven't been a ham for 55 years, just 45.
Yeah.
But the thing is that these people who are new to ham radio, I really agree with what the league is doing, trying to broaden the technician privileges.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, you can talk to the same guy on the repeater day after day after day, or you can get on DMR or D-Star, I guess, and do some exploring. Find people to talk to around the world.
Yeah.
Yes, granted, it's not HF, like us old guys like, but they're having a contact with somebody interesting who shares a fascination with ham radio. I think it's a great way to get started seeing what's out there beyond the local.
Well, it's definitely a change. The world's changing. Let me tell you, Dave. Hey, 100 years from now, we may not be using HF radio. It might be all digital stuff through the internet.
Yeah.
We'll use radio.
I think I'm with Dave. I think there's room for everything.
Yeah.
I'm one of these guys. I like to call a spade a spade. If you want to talk, I love DMR. I love it.
Yeah.
I talk on DMR all the time. I talk on Fusion. I've never talked on D-Star. Nothing against it. I just never have. I talk on All-Star, linking analog repeaters together, and I love it. I think it's great technology. I'm an IT professional by trade, and I love that kind of marriage between ham radio and the internet and computer world. But it's not an HF contact.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
I mean, don't say, oh, well, I can work Europe on DMR. Well, yeah, you can, but it's not the same thing. So nothing wrong with it. It's just not the same thing. So just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to work a contest or if I'm going to work a special event like this, I want to be able to say, yeah, that certificate, I actually contacted those guys over the air with an HF radio the way it was originally designed to do. So there's plenty of DMR stuff out there to do as well. In fact, one year for Field Day, we used our statewide talk group as a spotter network.
Oh, wow.
We were on DMR and we were like, hey, guys, we're on 7.245 megahertz, up here at W5HRC. Where are you guys? And we were talking back and forth, and that was kind of cool.
But you still establish a contact on HF between those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, guys, look, we're getting late into the show here, and we still need to talk about this other subject coming up here in just a minute with Denny. So everybody just hang in there a second. We'll be back with you, and we're going to talk about some social media stuff here in just a second. Heard it, worked it, logged it. It's time to get the transceiver that is best suited for your lifestyle. ICOM offers a variety of high-performance and innovative products. The IC7610 is the SDR every ham wants. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. It's a direct sampling software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. It has RF direct sampling, an independent dual receiver, and dual digit select. The IC7300 is changing the way entry-level HF is designed. This high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design will far exceed your expectations. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, in an SD memory card slot. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
It's just, yeah. It's
All
very
right,
reliable.
we're back. We're back here, and boy, running just a little bit late, but we've got another special guest here with us tonight. Let me see if I can bring Denny in. Let's get Denny in here with all three of you guys. Here we are. So, hey, Denny, how you doing? This is Denny, KD5DLJ, and let me tell you, he interviewed me the other day and put me on his. I visited his Digicom Cafe. Man, I can't even say it. He's got so many things going with social media that he's promoting ham radio. We're going to talk a little about that tonight. So, Denny, I'm going to bring you up kind of full screen here, and you can tell us all about what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're doing it and all that stuff, man.
I should have called it Denny's.
Well,
Everybody knows Denny's Cafe.
yeah, that would work, and you know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of known as Denny's Place. It seems like all the different modes we've got linked together stay pretty quiet when I'm not around. So I guess I need to be the main greeter in the cafe and the cook and the chef and the waitress.
So
Anyway.
your social media sites is like a cafe, or you walk in the door and it's all virtual, right? And you talk ham radio.
Yeah, pretty much. And I started about a year and a half ago, thinking of creative ways to reach the young generation. I think we've seen a fall off among the young people in the amateur radio hobby. And if they do get their tech license and get in, they don't seem to stick around very long. The repeaters themselves, RF repeaters, are very quiet. And they listen, they put out a call, and nobody comes back, and then they lose interest and forget about it. So I'm thinking, what is one thing that young people have in common? That's their smartphone. And with a smartphone, we all know that we can download any number of apps, from some of the oldest VoIP technologies like Echolink to a real popular one now called Zello. We've got some great programmers in the amateur radio world, like David, PA7LAM over in the Netherlands. He's written this little Peanut app. He's written Blue DV. In fact, my initial experience getting into the digital side was really through some of those kind of tools that David has come up with. You know, the Blue DV, and of course working with several others that have come up with software for the Raspberry Pi, creating hotspots. I mean, it's just blown the doors wide open. But you got to start with where they're at. And where they're at is they're using their smartphones. And I was thinking, you know, a lot of kids today are at-risk kids. And there's a lot of dangerous stuff out there in the, I call it the ionosphere, if you want to call it that, the internet. They can use apps like Zello, which is like the Wild West. You can go out there and go to groups that kids have no business going into. There are predators out there. The IDs that people form are not real. They're designed to lure people in, lure kids in. They got pedophiles out there. I mean, we've heard stories of what goes on in some of these internet communication platforms. And so I've always been concerned about it, and that's why I push ham radio. To me, amateur radio is a known community. And many of us hams have created Zello channels as a place where hams and non-hams can get together. We can start doing our Elmering, answering questions, getting to know them, help them get their license, help them with rig choices, things like that. But any one of us that comes in there with a call sign and has been verified by the moderators of those channels can be looked up on QRZ. They know who you are, they know where you live, they know your address. So we are a known community, and by and large a safe community, and that's why I push ham radio for young people. And I think what you said, Dave, is very true. These kids get excited about talking to someone around the world. For example, my grandson, 11 years old, he just got his tech license 2 months ago. A month after that, he got his general ticket. He's now working on his extra class, and all he's got to use is a hotspot and a DMR radio that I gave him, and also an iPad. Well, actually, it's an Android tablet. But with that, he's able to check into like the IRN, the International Radio Network, which is the communication tool of the Worldwide Amateur Radio Guild, which you can learn about at hamradiohub.com. And good bunch of people from all over the world. And my grandson calls me up and he says, "Papa, I just talked to a guy in Greenland." And he was so excited about it. And he's actually making regular conversations with this guy, learning about what it's like living on the other side of the world, you know. We've got people coming in from the UK, from all over Europe, from Australia, from South Africa. And we get together regularly with good, clear communications and understanding each other's cultures and backgrounds. It is so rich. And it's just the entry point into the hobby, getting them interested in electronics.
Let's go into your website and talk. Man, you got so much going here. And Jason, if you can hear me, Jason.
Yes.
You're typing, Jason. I can hear you type.
We can see him typing.
I'm talking in your chat, Tom.
I know you are. I'm not going to give you any demerits or anything. Just put you on notice, okay? All right. So hey,
All right, I'll stop.
So Denny, let's go to your website, and I don't even know where to start. You got so many cafes and different things you're doing, and groups and people can get in, and I don't even understand it all. But let me go over here.
There's only one cafe.
Is it okay? And
it's a buffet.
All right, look at here. What just
what a buffet is,
look
right?
Look what just popped up. Now we're not going to let that happen right there. We're going to tell it another time. Yeah. Okay. Gee.
What did that say?
It's wanting to put in updates.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, hey, we're at your
browser.
site. We're at your site, guys, and you can go to this. It's digicomcafe.com. And this is where you're going to find it all, man. Denny, you want to talk a little about it and tell me if I need to scroll up or down, or you describe the different parts of this thing.
Well, you can see right there at the top graphic, lots of logos of different digital modes of communication, including All-Star, DMR, D-Star, Fusion, PNet, Hamshack Hotline, Zello, and TeamSpeak. These are all unique modes of communication that we are allowed to bridge to with this mix. As we were talking earlier, we cannot bridge to things like Echolink. A lot of us, when we signed up, we don't read all the fine print, and we just say, yes, I agree, and move on. And then we start bridging Echolink to things like TeamSpeak or Zello. Well, apparently in the instructions there, it says we do not allow bridging to these VoIP technologies. And so because of that, you'll notice we don't have Echolink in the mix. I don't want to break the rules. We've been called in the carpet before when we were not aware of this problem, and I said, okay, not a problem. I broke the link, and I'm not doing anything with Echolink in our system any longer. Same thing with Brandmeister. We were bridging originally. Brandmeister, we had a talk group there for the Digicom Cafe, and we were bridging to Zello. And
are you doing anything? A question about Discord. Are you doing anything with Discord?
Discord is in there, but it's not bridging to things like Echolink.
Oh, okay.
Brandmeister.
I got you.
But we have had some bridging experiences. In fact, I actually had it set up to do HF. People could come in on Discord in our channel, and it had to be an approval thing. It's like with Zello or TeamSpeak or PNet or any of these groups. different applications, someone has to do the verification to make sure that only licensed amateurs are allowed to speak on the channels. It's the same thing with Echolink. You send in your license to Echolink, they check it out, make sure you are who you say you are. They give you permission then to use their application, because Echolink is part of repeaters. It's even directly tied to all Starlink nodes. And so we do the same thing as they do on Zello and TeamSpeak. The International Radio Network, the Guild, is very thorough. They have a great management team that looks at everybody that comes into their system that wants to use it. The TeamSpeak app is a great app. You can have multiple channels. Some are just VoIP for everybody. Some are RF for hams only. And so based on their verification process, they are determined to be a ham or not, and then given talk rights on those particular channels. And we do the same thing on Zello. I have 4 Digicom Cafe Zello channels, 1, 2, and 3, which are strictly VoIP, open for hams and non-hams alike.
Now,
Way to get their foot in the door.
Here's an example of the young guys coming aboard, young guys and gals coming aboard. I was talking about it a minute ago. And they understand all this. They know what all these different pieces are here and how to make them work together. I personally, the old guy, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? I have a terrible time understanding all this stuff, man. So anyway, let's talk more into it. Let's jump into it a little bit more.
Okay.
Should I scroll down a little?
Yep. Go ahead and go down, and you can see there's some more introductory things there. A lot of people ask us, well, what is this network? What are the different pieces to it? How are they connected? So if you want to scroll down, you will see a little video. It's one of those cartoony things, and if you were to play that,
let's see
you will see an
is that it right there?
explanation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and hit the play
I'm
button.
going to see if I can play it. Let's see if it'll play.
That's me there, by the way.
Is that you drawing? Oh, no.
No, that's me. It was drawing. Character.
Man.
If you want, you can scroll further along the line so it doesn't take the whole time to watch it. But these are the connecting lines.
Yeah.
The one in the center represents the All-Star node. That is the hub of the whole operation.
Man, I'm confused.
Most people are.
I'm confused.
Now, here's the deal, though.
Oh,
you don't have to understand all of it.
Yeah.
All you need to know is what you've got. So maybe you only have a phone. Not a problem. Download TeamSpeak, join the guild, become a member by going to hamradiohub.com. Get permission to use the channels on the IRN on TeamSpeak, or you can download Zello, or you can download Peanut, or you could download any number of applications. DV Switch Mobile, which will connect directly to an All-Star node. And you just need one. That's all you need. And from that, you can then connect with people across the whole system who have something different. And so someone on a D-Star radio can talk to someone on a DMR radio or on a Zello phone or any number of things. And that's why we say in our tags at the top, all are welcome.
Yeah, and
Radio
listening to
or
that,
no radio.
in listening to that description and watching that, I am completely out of breath. I don't know how to do it. Now, Dave, I bet Dave and Jason can get on there and make this thing fly.
I don't know about that. I'm retired from IBM. I not in active IT. One thing I'm curious about, I noticed on your website there is a pastoral connection.
Well, we have a bunch of us in the hobby that are faith-based people. We have many in our group that come from Christian backgrounds, Jewish backgrounds. We have some in the RN that are actually Muslim too. And you know what? We all fellowship together. We respect one another. We love to learn about the unique differences we have. And one of the things I've always desired in groups, and you'll have to agree as hams, you don't always see this. You see a lot of arguing and bickering and poor behavior on some amateur radio frequencies, even HF. I want to create a culture of kindness. And I use these phrases over and over again. So that when people hear that, they get the flavor of what we have here in the cafe, of what we're offering. We want it to smell good. We want it to have a friendly environment, a nice ambiance, you know. And if people come in wanting to argue politics or religion or whatever, we kindly remind them, no, let's just learn to listen, acknowledge, and share. Respect one another's differences of opinions. Don't browbeat other people and try and start arguments or you'll be booted. And by the way, that's another great benefit of this digital technology. I've heard on some HF frequencies, 40 meters, 20 meters, where people come in and they start creating all kinds of problems and swearing and whatever, chewing someone out. You can't get rid of them. You just have to leave the frequency. In the digital technology, you can just turn them off. Zello, TeamSpeak, any of those guys, we've got moderators that monitor those things. And if someone goes against the grain, and it rarely happens, I really have not had any issues to speak of. But when we do, all we have to do is say, I'm sorry, that's not tolerated here. Flip the switch and they're gone and continue on. I don't want my 11-year-old grandson to be exposed to some of this crud that I hear on some of the HF bands. And you guys have been there, you know what it's like. It's embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You know, we have a way of controlling it now. And so here in the cafe, in a culture of kindness, which comes often from this faith-based background, and I don't see why we need to only bring our radio personalities to the hobby. I mean, we are who we are, and if we're people of faith, we bring that to the table, and hopefully we'll enhance it. And so we actually have 2 pastors that are part of our team that are here for anything. In fact, we've got a couple guys providing daily devotional materials, and other people enjoy that. It's just another way of learning about the world we live in, and it's a broad world. And we have a wonderful fellowship in our group, faith or no faith, radio or no radio.
Well,
Sounds like you've got a really great group there. I try to follow the same basic philosophy on my channel, that my channel on YouTube is a safe place.
Exactly.
Where people can ask any question. You know, when you're new to ham radio, you don't know if a question is dumb or anything. I tell everybody the only dumb question is the one that is not asked.
Right.
And I will try to take every question at face value. And people who belittle other people, like you say, they're a click away and they're gone.
Yeah. And thank you, Dave, for all you do for providing those resources to new hams or people want to upgrade. You put a lot of work in what you do. It's really appreciated.
Thank you.
Well, let's go
Looks
on
like
down.
you're doing
Let's go
great
on down the
work
webpage here as time keeps moving on here, and tell us a little bit more about what we're looking at here. Let me bring the page back up.
Well, if you go right below that little video thing, you'll see it says our digital buffet menu. So imagine going to your local buffet and you go down the line and you think, oh, I don't really like that. Oh, look at that dessert. Oh, good meat here, you know. And so you load up your plate with whatever you like. And so in this buffet menu, you'll see listed a lot of different ways that you can touch base with people in our community. All-Star. In fact, we have 2 Amazon skills. One of them is called Ham Buffet. And if you just go to your Amazon store and look for Ham Buffet and and go ahead and enable that, you can just tell Alexa, open Ham Buffet, and you'll get an introduction to our system. If at any point in time you're already been through it and you are familiar with the menu, you can just interrupt and say, Alexa, Cafe on Ice. And so it'll open up Cafe on Ice, which is a very unique broadcasting stream that I put together. It's an IceCast server that is connected to our Zello channels. So all of the live conversation in our system, no matter what radio you use, will come out in this streaming audio. But nobody likes to listen to a dead channel. So in the meantime, when there's no conversations, you can listen to WTWW. You can listen to ham radio podcasts. Several guys are broadcast there on WTWW, great shortwave radio station. And you listen to the ambient sounds of the cafe, the murmur of conversation, the clatter of plates quietly in the background. So you never have to listen to nothing. There's always something to listen to. And a lot of guys like to listen to it under their pillow at night. And that way they don't miss the conversations going on. Plus they can hear some fun music.
Well, Denny had
So
me.
anyway-
Denny had me come in a cafe the other day, and I came in. I sat down, and I felt really at home. And a little music playing in the background, and we just talked ham radio. And that interview is actually on here somewhere. If we scroll the right place, you can click, and you can hear Denny's interview with us.
Well, we got right here next, we've got Cafe Cast, which I'll do a little intro on that. It's an idea I had for, a lot of hams collect QSL cards. I collect stories. I love hearing the stories of people from whatever experience they have in life. But in this case, I love hearing how people got into the hobby. I think their stories are valuable. I think they will help promote the hobby, build interest in the hobby. And so I do these little vignettes. I ask people to come into the cafe, like with Tom here. Tom came in and I had him tell his story, and then had him share his passion of what he's doing here with his broadcast center here and his podcast and all of his efforts to bring amateur radio to the masses. A lot of people don't have the radios. They don't have the room, whatever. So he wants to be able to provide them the experience of going to Hamvention by just going on their computer and winning prizes. So I don't know. I think my headset my earbuds may have just died. Let's see if I get to hear my sound here coming out my phone. Hopefully I will. But anyway, so I created this Radio on the Rocks. It's a podcast. I call it a cafe cast. And we just sit down in the cafe and they tell their story and then I publish it. It's just an ongoing library. It's not time sensitive. Like a lot of the podcasts we have, I know Jason does a great job with his podcast and puts out helpful information about radios and gear. But, those radios fall by the wayside sometimes. And maybe people don't follow the old news as much as the new news. Well, mine is just stories of hams. They're timeless stories that'll always be there in the library for young people or anybody to just stumble across and listen and think, that sounds interesting. I think I'd like to get a license. So that's what that's for. But then we've also got the typical amateur radio platforms, DMR, D-Star. We've got several social media platforms. We got Facebook. A lot of people don't like Facebook, and so we have another community portal called Mighty Networks, digicomcafe.mn.co. And all those little icons there in that menu, you click on it, it'll take you to some other information or to the website that's a source. We've got Orion. Orion Labs is a very cool communications platform that uses little devices like, here I can show you one here. This is called an Onyx. It's a little Bluetooth device that connects to your phone with this application.
Hang on. Hey, wait a minute. Let me get you. Hang on.
You push the front. It's like a Star Trek badge. You push on it to transmit, and when you release, of course, you can hear the conversations. It's got volume controls here on the side. It's got dual speakers, so it gives you some kind of noise cancellation effects. Very cool device. But click on the link, go to Orion, join our Digicom Cafe group. We're in partnership with OrionLabs.io. It's really designed for business and enterprise, and our Digicom Cafe is only one of 2 public groups on their network. So just another thing we're doing to provide fun. Of course, we've got TeamSpeak that's part of the IRN. A lot of people don't maybe even have a phone, at least a smartphone. But you know what? If they have a little SIP phone, they could sign up for a Ham Shack hotline, which is a cool communications phone service for amateur radio operators. In fact, you could get your SIP phone to get your extension and simply dial up 94005 and connect into our whole network.
So Denny,
it's just kind of like what you would do on some of these phone applications on your smartphone. Star 99, that's an all-star type thing.
So Denny,
Star
can you
99,
hear me? Can you hear me?
pound
Can
on
you
key.
hear me?
So you can use your SIP phone.
Can you
I've
hear
got
me?
one right here. People call me, I call them. It's for hams only, and we've got a regular
Can you hear me?
Oh, let's see, baby, get my sound up here.
Can you hear
barely
me?
hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, I was just going to interject a minute ago, and I knew you wasn't hearing me because your earplugs went out. But man, either you're taking an awful lot of vitamins every day, or you got somebody helping you do this. I mean, this is massive.
Yeah, it is, and I'm grateful to a lot of other hams that make it possible. We're all about partnering. If you look in the website, you'll see our staff, our people down below. My wife and I, we've got Mello, K1BAD. We got George, AF5SB. Those are our two pastors and their wives. Here we've got the guys from the Alabama link. We've got Doug Gooden and Russell. They're both involved with the Alabama link. They did a wonderful job here the last couple of weeks doing our D-Star bridge using DV Switch software. We've got Sammy, KD2KMP, who provided our original D-Star link. He's also bridged to TeamSpeak and his New York link. He's been a very strong supporter of what we do here and always out there to help people. We've got John here, N1PCE. He's doing our Zello bridge from up there in New Hampshire. And, of course, everybody that's involved in this stuff and All-Star know Jesse, WH6AD, who's been very helpful on the All-Star side. So we really appreciate those guys. We've also got some behind-the-scenes guys. We got Desmond. He's a ham over there at Orion Labs. Ronald's out in Australia. He provided the software for our Ambi server running on a Raspberry Pi. That allows us to transcode D-Star to Peanut and into the system. We've got Ty, of course, been very instrumental with the TGIF network, and we partner with the Guild. And I mean, it's just a bunch of hams having fun.
Man.
And one of the things, and I've told you this, Tom, I like what Zig Ziglar said. You can get what you want when you help others get what they want. And so, just like you told me, Tom, we're not in competition. All these podcasts that are out there, we're not competing with one another. We're just doing what God has gifted us to do to make this a fun hobby and to help others. You know, it's all about helping people. And you all do a great job with that. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show. I'm honored to be with who you got here tonight.
Man, I'm tired of listening and looking. How do you do it, man? I mean, I gotta.
Well, hey, Tom,
I have to quit complaining.
Let's
you know,
do your Cafe Cast.
I have to
click on that link at the top, the Cafe Cast, and then you'll see the first one that comes up down there, and that's an embedded SoundCloud widget.
Yeah,
Tom was the last one.
What do you want me to do?
Looks like he's already got 58 listens on his thing. But go ahead and click the play button there.
Well, let's see. What are we doing? Where do you want me to go?
Cafe Cast under the menu.
Okay.
At the top.
In the menu at the top. Okay, Cafe Cast at the
All the way
menu.
to the top. Yep. The
Yeah,
top
I got
menu.
it right there. I got it.
And then when it goes down to your to the Cafe Cast widget, the SoundCloud widget, go ahead and click on the play button.
Okay, so if we
And
click
you
here,
can play
yeah,
until you
okay.
get the intro to our interview
Welcome
with
to the
you.
Digicom Cafe, located at the intersection of faith and technology. We hope you enjoy your cafe experience where we cater to your digital and spiritual appetites, and build interest in the amateur radio hobby, one story at a time. Please stand by as we get ready to launch this episode of Radio on the Rocks. You are about to listen to a Cafe Cast interview that occurred on June 30th, 2019, in the Digicom Cafe Communications Network, with Denny J, KD5DLJ and his guest, Tom Medlin, W5KUB of Collierville, Tennessee. Tom is well known for his helmet cam video live stream from Hamvention for the last...
All right, man, I tell you. Woo. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
Well, I'm impressed with all the work that you do.
Oh,
and,
boy.
Dave and Jason and so many others out there. This is a great hobby with great people, and all I want to do is help build a hobby one story at a time and provide a platform that's safe for young people and to bring them into the hobby. And I know you guys are all doing your best to do that too. So as a team, we work together. By the way, Dave, Jason, I want to get a cafe cast done of you guys too, you know.
Always available.
Yeah. Hey,
All right.
Denny, send me a link to your Discord server.
Okay, I'll do that.
I've got a Discord server of my own for my own YouTube show, so
Yeah.
I'll send you a link to mine too. So send me a link to
Okay.
yours. What great links.
Oh, man, I feel left out.
Oh,
Tom, I've
I'll
sent you a link to
include
mine
Tom.
before. You guys are welcome to join mine. Mine's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, I'm just an old dog. New tricks, man. You know.
It's all right.
Oh, man. Hey, Denny, thank you so much, man, for coming on here tonight with us and showing us all this stuff. Amazing job you've done and all the support you're doing for ham radio. There's something there for everybody. And I like eating at buffets. I mean, you know, I'd rather eat at a buffet than go to a restaurant. You know, I tell my wife,
Yeah.
because I can go in and I can see the food and I can say, this looks good, or, you know, I feel like this today, you know. And that's exactly what you've got here for ham radio.
Well, I hope we see you guys join us in one platform or the other sometime and check in and meet some of our folks and contribute.
All right. Well, thank you again. And I tell you, I've been talking with Denny about maybe coming on a show a little bit more often and bringing some interviews in. He interviews very well-known people in the ham radio field from around the world, and we might start bringing some segments in with Denny and some special guests in the future. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Tom. And by the way, we're selling shirts to help promote this and others too.
All right. Digicomcafe.com, guys. That's where you got to go.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, guys. That was exciting, and I'm gonna have to learn more. I've got a little project I've got going right here. Let me show you. It'll take me 1 minute to explain, and I've got to relearn it. So I'm doing good if I can learn one thing at a time. But you know, I was very active in satellite communications back about 6, 7, 8 years ago. That's where I met Colonel Wheelock and became a friend with astronaut Wheelock. But I was pretty successful with all the satellite stuff, the IS stuff, and so forth. International ISS, and enjoyed it. Well, I moved and I took my satellite stuff down, and I put it back up here recently, but my TS2000 wouldn't hear anything. Even with the preamp on, it was so weak that I couldn't hear the satellites. And I knew that wasn't normal, and I finally put it on some test equipment. I found out it looks like the front end or preamplifier for the VHF and UHF bands is out. It takes almost a 0 dB signal to get a signal through. So it's supposed to be somewhere around minus 110. So anyway, I boxed it up yesterday and shipped it off for repair. That's my TS2000 is going to come back for repair. In the meantime, I'm getting my satellite station back together. I was having a little trouble with my rotor, and you know, so I thought, okay, I'm going to take this rotor apart and work on it. Let me tell you guys, I mean, I'm an engineer, but I do not recommend you taking a rotor apart. Now, nothing happened out of the ordinary here. This sucker has 100 bearings in it. It's got 50 on that top rail, and it's got 50 or 51 under that. And if you take the 4 bolts out and this thing comes apart, I guarantee you, you will be picking up bearings for about 6 weeks. Okay. Okay. So anyway, but that didn't happen to me because I'm being very careful. Also, this thing is synchronized to know where the stops are and so forth. So I wanted to be very sure this thing went back together exactly as it came out, you know, as I took it apart. So anyway, I had put some grease in it here, you know, maybe a few months ago. but I use regular grease, and that's that's a no-no. That's a no-no, and especially in the winter, it'll start caking up and getting hard and everything. So I cleaned it all out. You can see right there, so the raceways are all cleaned out and so forth. And I put some lithium grease in there. The lithium grease will not get cold. It won't freeze. It won't harden. So I put lithium in there. I put it all back together. So I got my rotor back together, and it's a messy job, guys. Getting that grease in and out of that thing, it's a messy job. But I'm getting back on satellite. So, as you notice, my operating position is pretty cluttered. I don't even have room to put my azimuth or elevation rotor boxes up there. I've just run out of room. The studio takes another third of my room here. And over on my workbench, there's my workbench over there. And I noticed, okay, on the bottom shelf right side, I've got 2 surplus signal generators there. They're very heavy, they're very big. I haven't used those things in 15 years. So I took those off of there, and I'm gonna set my satellite station up over on that side of the room right there. I'm gonna put them right there. And the shelf right there is only about 11 inches deep, and your radio's like a TS2000. It's about 15, 16 inches deep. So what I did, I just made me a little an extension that basically sets on there or lays on there, and I can screw it down on there. But that will give me the depth I need to operate my satellite rigs. So there's kind of what it will look like. I've got that's a Yaesu 991A setting there. I'll be replacing it with my TS2000. The 991 Yaesu, I have made some satellite contacts on it when my 2000 was out, but it's a half duplex radio only, so it's very difficult to use if you can't hear yourself coming back on satellite, especially for calibrating. But you can see the setup there. I'll put my TS2000 there. There's the azimuth, there's the elevation rotor in the center, the azimuth rotor. And then down on the end, there's the head for an ICOM IC2720, just a dual band FM radio. A lot of your satellites, or not a lot, but some of your satellites are strictly FM. But I've got that there in case I wanted to use it for the FM birds. The nice thing about the TS2000 that I'll be using is the program. You can see it on the PC above. It's called SAT PC32. It's a free program. It will track every satellite, and it will also control the radio. It will change the frequencies on both transmit and receive in the transceiver there for Doppler shift. So one of the things about satellite is, as the satellite is out away from you, approaching you, it's on one frequency. As it goes over you, it's on exactly the right frequency, and as it passes past you, the frequency gets lower in frequency. So that program right there will actually adjust for Doppler shift the TS2000. And different satellites, of course, have different frequencies. So if I'm tracking, say, AO7, it'll put the radio on the specific frequencies for AO7. It'll put it on the proper sideband, upper or lower. It gives me, and it would give me rotor control for my tracking antennas. Now, I don't have automated computerized rotors, so I manually do it. But I can look at the display there and know exactly where the satellite is and the elevation and so forth. And by using the manual rotors there, I can move it through and around and track the satellite. So my satellite antennas just up on the roof. I've got a little flat roof behind the house here. It's over a porch. And you can see Walter there was helping me set it up. When I could not receive with the TS2000, I thought, okay, I got to have more gain. So I took a 5-element 2-meter beam off that I used to use all the time, and I put a 13-element on, and that didn't give me any more gain. The receiver still didn't work. So I finally realized I had receiver problems. So I put I think it's 11 11 or 13 element 2-meter boom on there. You can see both the UHF and VHF antennas. I had to extend the pipe up a little bit because when that antenna is pointing straight up, you can see the bottom of that antenna is going to stick down pretty low toward the roof. So anyway, that's what we did. Now, one other thing, I use all wire antennas here. I got rid of my tower years ago. But with this antenna on my back porch like that, when you drive down my street, these antennas are real shiny, and you can see it sticking out there, you know. It's like, what in the world is that, you know? So what I've done is, I've done a little, it's hard to see here, but I've painted with spray paint. I've sprayed the beams there between a black and some brown to camouflage it. So I think from the street, looking back this way, that's going to blend right into, all these trees that I've got back there, and I don't think you're going to really see the antenna very much anymore. So anyway, that's kind of my update on satellite, and hopefully I'll have my TS2000 back real soon and get back on. All right, I think Dave dropped off. I think he dropped.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so let's go back and okay, so about 9:30, we about an hour and a half. That's about what the show lasts each week. Looks like we've made just about everything fit in. Hey guys, we're on free time now. Anything else we want to talk about?
Well, I'm already lining up some guests for some Cafe Cast videos for you.
Okay, cool. Looking forward.
One of the first ones is going to be Wayne Cornish, G7OKI, president of the Worldwide Amateur Radio Guild. I'm also working on getting one with Desmond. He's the technologist, I guess they call it, for Orion Labs. And he used to be a podcaster on CNET, I believe it was. Ryan Seacrest was his partner in that podcast years ago. And also he teaches podcasting. He's a very good communicator, but we're going to sit down with him here soon. So we'll have a couple of them lined up for you. Okay,
well, that sounds good. And we'll work those into the show here. Looking forward to it. Guys, we got a Hamfest coming up here in about a month. I've got to get out and round up a bunch of prizes for it. This is our annual Huntsville Hamfest. I think next week we'll have Bill Brown on, the chairman of Huntsville Hamfest. We're going to talk about it. And man, we're looking forward and exciting to get down there. This is the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. Huntsville is a big space city, and they've got a big space center there. We're going down on Wednesday. The Hamfest is Saturday and Sunday. We're actually going down Wednesday. We're going to spend all day at the Space Center on Thursday. I think, yeah, Thursday. Friday will be setup day, and then the Hamfest will be Saturday and Sunday. And we like Huntsville so much, we're going to stay till Monday morning before we come back.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun.
Tom, I just want to thank you for all you do with your show here and sharing the podcast and bringing in all these guests. You've been doing this a long time, and you made a big difference in the hobby for a lot of people.
Well, we like doing it. I had to find something when I retired, you know. I had to find something to do.
Exactly.
So
Jason's got a ways to go for that to happen.
Yeah, and you know, I'll spend a couple days getting the show ready, but let me see if I can get my picture in here somewhere. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, I won't do that. So I can't chew gum and move pictures around at the same time. So yeah, I'll spend a couple days a week, but it's getting where something happens for the show. A lot of times I would wonder, okay, man, it's Friday. I don't have anything for the show Tuesday night. What am I going to do? And sometimes those work out to be some of the best shows. Last minute things drop in, fall in place.
Not planned. Yep.
Yeah.
I bet.
And when that happens, I can call you or Jason there or Katie and and Josh and say, okay, guys, we got to talk about something, and hey, we'll turn it into a pretty good show.
You can always ask us about what desserts we have in the buffet coming up.
Do you have desserts there?
Oh yeah.
I think you told me about that, but I don't remember the desserts.
We can't do too much tonight. Everybody's already swimming.
Oh yeah, they are. All right, guys. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll end the show tonight. We had a good time with everybody, and we got everybody in. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
All righty.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Hey, and everybody out there in the chat room, if you have not joined our Facebook group, join W5KUB Facebook group. We'd love to have you. And Jason, let's get you over to Jason's group there, which is what, Ham Radio 2.0 YouTube.
Right, Ham Radio 2.0 YouTube channel.
Okay.
The name of the group.
All right, and join that, and we need to get everybody over to digicomcafe.com to start checking that out, right?
We're on Facebook also.
Okay, and the name on Facebook is?
It's the same thing, Digicom Cafe.
Okay.
One
All right,
word.
very, very good.
And if all of your 7,700 plus listeners would come and like me, we're just getting started. You've been doing this for 17 years. We've just started a year ago, a little over a year ago. We've only got 450, but climbing.
Well, you know, we're on a membership drive. Hambot has announced a membership drive. We've got 7,700 members now in our group. It's growing pretty good. And you know, I'd love to see 10,000 Facebook members here this year. I don't know if we can make it or not.
Jason, what are you at? 20,000 plus on YouTube?
About 18.5.
Wow. How do you do it? Content.
And you know,
put up, DMR is a good one, man. And all the new stuff like that, people want to see that. People who watch YouTube are into latest technology type stuff.
And like Jason said, he's with a large number of people there. Of course, we only have on our YouTube channel, we only have about 3,500 subscribers. But we've never really, we've really never advertised our show as a YouTube channel. We've always kind of marketed it as W5KUB.com, and that's where I try to send people to watch the video, although they're really playing it off YouTube. So we've really never pushed that side of it. And I don't know whether I should or shouldn't, but I need to figure out how I can put a link. Jason, I guess I could put some kind of, is there a link that you can put on here to subscribe to a channel?
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to get that link and put it on the website under the video where people can click on it. And that way, I mean, they're on YouTube, but they may not know it, but that would still subscribe them.
You could create a custom URL, Tom.
I've got one. I've got a custom URL.
Right. What I'm saying is you can create like a custom subdomain and go w5kub.com/subscribe and point that URL to your to your YouTube page where people can click on subscribe. So what I've done on mine is if you go to hamradio2.com/subscribe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you go to subscribe.hamradio2.com, you type that URL into a browser on a phone, computer, whatever, it'll automatically take you to my YouTube channel, and it'll take you to a pop-up window that says, "Are you sure you want to subscribe? Yes or no?" And they click yes, and they're subscribed to my channel.
Well, I want to put that link, the subscribe link, on my page. I don't want to have to go to YouTube and then go to another link to subscribe. So I don't know if it'd be possible to get that link and embed it over on my site.
Well, you want them to subscribe to you on YouTube or elsewhere?
YouTube.
Yeah. So you could embed that link on your site, and then it would just forward to YouTube, to your YouTube channel, so they subscribe to you on YouTube, but it's a custom URL that you can put anywhere you want to.
Yeah, but here's I think where we're not communicating. I don't want them to click here and go to YouTube, and then have to click another link to subscribe. I want to put that subscribe link on my page under the video.
Yeah, you can. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll work on that. I'll work on it. Okay. Hey guys, good night to everybody. We enjoyed it. Boy, I had a good time tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
It's been fun. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
I'll talk to you soon, Denny.
Okay. Maybe I'll call you tomorrow. You working tomorrow?
Yeah, but I work from home. Go ahead and call me.
Okay, we'll do.
All right.
Good night. Thanks, Tom.
See you,
All right.
everyone.
All
So you're
right.
saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Okay, guys. Well, that's going to be it for about tonight. You know, Kathy, the daughter, and the grandgirls are all over in North Carolina this week. I stayed here to put the show on. So here's what I could be doing in North Carolina if I was over there. Here it is. Just a week. Well, we've got a home over here in North Carolina. So this is near our home over there, and I didn't know if I'd like doing it or not, but it was fun. And as I was looking at this, I thought, boy, this might make a very nice antenna. I want you to look at this cable. So we're going to shoot for the little hole down here in the middle of the trees, the little opening right there. Okay, so here we go. Here we go.
See you on the other side.
All right. So that was a lot of fun. You know, I didn't know if I would do it or not, but I enjoyed it. That was one of the longest spans there. That particular zip line, I think, has about 17 different lines that you go through the mountains over there. So it turned out pretty good. Enjoyed it. All right, good night, everybody. 73. See you later.